Okay, I think by now we're probably getting the hang of this layer style malarkey. So what we'll do is we'll quickly just whip through the last two pieces on there, the tagline and the Your Name Presents part. Starting with the tagline. So if we double click on the layer, now what you will find is if you have a layer that's got quite a lot of text on, it becomes very difficult to find a blank piece of, I managed to do it there quite successfully, typically, but it does sometimes become quite difficult to double click on the layer and bring up the text without it actually wanting you to edit the layer name. So what you can do is, if you do find yourself having that problem, instead of trying to double click on the layer to bring up the layer options, we just go down here to add a layer style, click on there and add whatever style we want. For this one we want to start with a drop shadow, so if we click on there, that brings up our dialog box and we're back to where we want to be, basically adding a drop shadow. Most of the things are fine on there. Again, if you don't have the global light set to 120, you just want to change that to 120. The only two real things on there that we need to change are the distance and size, and they both want to be 1. So if I click 1, press 1 there, that's fine, that's all we need for the drop shadow. And the second and last thing we need to add is a gradient overlay. So if we just tick the box and make sure the layer is highlighted, we'll go with the settings that we need, which are the opacity wants to be right down on 25. It's going to be quite subtle, just to take the plainness off the text, but not very strong. So it's 25, and the scale of that wants to be 60. So there you go, that looks quite nice. And that's everything for the tagline. Okay. So moving on to the last piece of text, the Your Name Presents. If we just double click in that layer to bring up the box, we'll go through the settings quickly. First of all, drop shadow, and the opacity wants to be 50%. And the other two things I want to change on here are the distance and size again, and they want to be 1 and 1. So it's a very, very subtle, very small drop shadow. The next thing we want on there is outer glow. We're just going to add a little black outline to the text, just for something different. And the settings on this want to be normal for the blend mode up there. The opacity of that wants to be 75, that's fine. The colour we want to be black, as I mentioned. We're going to put a black line around it, so that's 000 on the RGB. You can see that's changed to black now up there. Okay, but it's obviously too large, so we're going to change the size down to 2. There we go, we've just got a little black outline around the text now. Could have done that with stroke as well, but I just find outer glow sometimes adds a nicer effect overall. Okay, and the last thing we want to change on there is to add a gradient overlay, and the blend mode wants to be overlay itself, just to make it a little bit more subtle. And the opacity we want to change down to 70. Actually, it wants to be normal. Sorry. And we'll change the opacity down to about 25. So there we go. So blend mode normal, opacity 25. And there we go, that's looking nice now. So if we click OK to that, that's the two pieces of text styled quite nicely. And so, move on to the next video.